Give it to me like. 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 Give it to me like.
And welcome to a brand new episode of Sipping Tea with Suzanne. And it is also the final week episodes for Black Excellence. So, as you know, Black History Month ends tomorrow on the leap year. And today we are chatting with two phenomenal leaders in the community about what they're doing, for Black History Month and all that. So, I'm excited to have with me from the village the lovely Shaija Medina. How are
Yes,
you?
good. How are you?
I am fantastic.
Beautiful.
Yes. So we're going to chat with her. She's been a little busy this Black History Month, so I'm so happy that we were able to get her. But first, let me start off by saying thank you to my loyal viewers and subscribers. Thank you for tuning in week after week. I appreciate you. If you're not already subscribing, you're joining for the first time, please make sure you subscribe, like, share, write a review, and come back because I promise you each week we'll bring you some fantastic guests. I want to thank you to my producer extraordinaire, Mr. Paul Anderson, and our sponsor, Paul Anderson's Photography. So, as I mentioned, today we have two shows. We do one at 12 and one at 5. And today I have with me, again, the fabulous Miss Shaija Medina
Yes.
from the village. So, you've been a little busy this month.
It's been very busy. It's good busy, but it's busy.
It's good busy. It's good busy, but
Yes.
you're doing something that you love.
Exactly.
So, what is Black history to you, like, or at the village? I know what it means to you, and I'm like, I'm trying. Don't give too much
I
because
know, tomorrow.
like, yeah. So for those who don't know, Positively Suzanne Brand, we're hosting a panel tomorrow with some phenomenal speakers, and Shaja happened to be one of them. So don't give us everything because then you're gonna have to go study tonight. So,
Always got plenty to share of
I
culture.
know. So let's talk about you being busy for Black History Month, and then
Yeah.
what does that look like, and how has it shifted like over the years for you?
Yeah. So Black History Month obviously is in February, and for folks who aren't familiar with the history, I was just thinking we gotta get our tea together.
We gotta pour our tea, girl.
I
We gotta
picked a
pour
really
our
good
tea.
flavor.
You did. You
Yes.
did.
So for folks who aren't familiar, I know a lot of people like to say that they put Black History Month in February because it's the shortest month of the year, and that's not true. One of our ancestors, Carter G. Woodson, chose to put Black History what would become Black History Month. It started out as Negro History Week from February 7th to the 14th because he was trying to get Abraham Lincoln's birthday, which we now know Abraham Lincoln wasn't really for Black folks the way history likes to tell it, and Frederick Douglass's birthday. And then here we are 98 years later, and it's a whole month. But Black History Month for us has been so busy because we celebrate Black history all year round, but I think people's attentions are extra focused during February. So we like to provide lots of opportunities for folks to really jump in, whether it's art, we've done drumming, we've done celebrations of Bob Marley, we've done lots of different things. So just really trying to provide community an opportunity to learn as much as they can during February and then continue learning during March, April, May, June, and all the other months of the year. And I think for the village, it's been extra busy because I think there's really a push for like DEI, there's a push for equity, there's a push for diversity in lots of different spaces now. So there are places who maybe weren't celebrating Black history as much maybe 5-10 years ago that are now wanting to make sure they have something, which means we have public events, we have private events where we're asked to come and do programming. We've been at a number of schools, we've done at a number of companies, and different kind of state agencies have invited us to come and do Black History Month programming with them. So, and that wasn't the case like 5 years ago.
No, it wasn't. And I think like, you're so in demand in terms of, I mean, good or bad, right? You're in schools, you're in organizations, as you say, like public spaces, government spaces, and all that. And you guys do a lot of work down at the village itself, which is, the village Worcester.
Yes.
It's there, it's a community space. It's a complete, it's an inclusive space. It's a safe space for us to go and learn and, talk about our experiences. But you guys are a lot and in demand. So how do you guys decide what to say yes to?
That's a good question. That's a very good question. Definitely folks who are proactive and reach out to us like late December, early January, right?
Okay.
Folks who are really trying to be intentional and really collaborate with folks in a way that doesn't cause like stress.
Yeah.
We had someone reach out to us Sunday to do a program on Tuesday, like this week.
This week?
Yes.
Okay.
Like last Sunday. Like it's not even possible. You know what I mean? So unfortunately, that's an obvious no for us.
Okay.
We can't handle that kind of volume and request just yet.
Yeah.
But folks who like are already thinking like, okay, we know Black History Month's coming. Let's reach out to folks now. And also folks whose mission aligns, right? Like there are organizations in our community who maybe aren't doing the most community-centered work, so we're not going to come for Black History Month and just show our faces and do a program for you if 365 days of the year you're not committed to community, right?
No,
That's
absolutely.
not something we're going to particularly do. Some might, but the village will not do that.
And that's okay because, I say to people all the time, especially me personally being an entrepreneur, like not everybody is your client and that's okay. There's 8 billion people in the world.
Exactly.
And we don't have the capacity to service everybody,
Yep.
anyway. So I get it.
Yeah.
And if somebody seems like they're not off you, for whatever reasons, then, you're right. They decide like, okay, Black History Month, let me put this face there.
Yeah.
And then I understand,
we don't want to participate in that.
And that's okay. It's funny. I mean, forgive me, y'all, but my daughter is like, she doesn't watch kids show. Like I was saying to her the other day, let's watch Trolls. Like she's not into those shows.
Okay.
Like she's not like
It's not her thing.
though. Like I am. Like I'm watching like Encanto and Nemo and Frozen.
I love it.
And
you gotta come watch it at our house with Jabrielle. We're still watching.
It's about grown it. And like for a few years now, and I'm like, so she was like, Mom, I'm watching it for you. And I was like, okay.
Oh, you thought it was the other way around.
I thought I was, but anyway,
it together.
yeah. So, but I was saying that because she likes like lawyer shows, like Law and Order and things like that. She really loves like procedural dramas and things like that, and whatever y'all won't say. So I'm like watching it with her, and I just made this observation to her. I was like, I noticed like whenever there's a case where a gentleman is charged with some sort of domestic violence or sexual abuse or something related to hurting a woman, their lawyer is always female. Because they're trying to get that sympathy vote. Like, look at me, I have a female lawyer. Clearly, I didn't do it.
Yeah.
So I think similar, I'm sure that you have experienced that where, folks have they want you to put the face, but not actually to do the work.
Yeah.
So how
Yeah.
do you have that candid conversation though?
I we I think that we have to have any organization, but
Mm-hmm.
especially organizations that are led by minoritized people, folks
Mm-hmm.
that are women, folks that are people of color, especially Black folks, um, to really like have a set of values and stand with that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there have been a couple of like potential collaborations that either from the start I was like, that's a big no, or at
Mm.
some point down the line, I was like, we're gonna pull out of here.
Okay.
And I, in the spirit of my ancestors and telling truth, will give them basically a free consultation where I'll say, this is exactly why I'm
Mm.
not comfortable moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
And unless you're able to adjust these things,
Mm-hmm.
I
Okay.
gotta I gotta pull out to respect, that our ancestors
Mm-hmm.
had these strong values and morals and integrity in what they did so that we could be here. So we have an obligation to them to have that same integrity,
Mm-hmm.
to say we're not gonna do that
Yeah.
because
Okay.
it doesn't help our future, right?
Mm-hmm.
How does it help the two generations down? How does it help your grandchildren
Mm.
that I put my face on this and it wasn't helpful for our community?
Okay. Do
Yeah.
you find that folks are more comfortable having the tough conversations now?
I think it's like a 50-50 split.
Okay.
I think we're in a unique position where we're now getting ready to be 4 years out in June from George
Okay.
Floyd, right?
Yeah.
And Breonna Taylor and Ahmaud and all those beautiful Black people. And maybe 2 years ago, people were really still in it. And I think
Yeah.
we're in this like arc where it's starting to come back down and
Mm-hmm.
people are a little less,
Mm-hmm.
you know, wanting to do some of that really
Mm-hmm.
hard work. But you do come across folks that are willing to make the changes and have conversations and be uncomfortable. And then you can tell that there's some that are like, oh, shoot,
Mm-hmm.
they threw around those words. They're talking about DEI, they're talking about race.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do. And so they just say thank you and
No,
send it on their way. And there are others who do want to engage and would say, I'd love to have a meeting. I really want to talk about this. We can pause. We can choose a different date so we have more time, which I think is a reflection of their genuine want to be in collaboration and in community with others.
no, and
Hmm.
I think it's so important that we have these courageous
Hmm.
conversations, whether it's around blackness and
Hmm.
anti-blackness, whether
Hmm.
it's around, Latinos,
Hmm.
LGBTQ plus,
Yep.
abortion, like
Hmm.
all these things, the election,
Yeah.
politics. And I think we've just gotten to the point in some spaces where I feel like while the conversations are happening, people
Hmm.
think that to have those conversations, like you're trying to start a fight.
Hmm.
But we don't know all things
Hmm.
and we don't understand someone else's point of view. And I'm always curious to say, well, tell me why.
Hmm.
Like, who is this hurting?
Yeah.
Like, and what do you lose by gaining knowledge?
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. They always say knowledge is the only thing that, when shared, can grow. It's the
Exactly.
only thing in the whole world.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I know that, you've done so many things. And I recently I noticed like you guys were in the school.
Yeah. Hmm.
What is that like, being in the space in the school and teaching?
Yeah. It's a lot of fun. I think
Yeah.
young people are like very blunt,
Mm-hmm.
very curious, and
Honest.
very honest, and very much so keep me on my toes to be
Yeah.
like in my brain, I'm like, I can't even
Yeah.
believe they just said that. But then that's not a way to engage with young
Yeah.
people. In my own teaching, you should just kind of receive and try
Yeah.
to redirect and guide. But we read Black history books to a second grade class at Rice Square School yesterday.
Oh,
We'll be at
okay.
Chandler Magnet School tomorrow
Okay.
with another group of second graders. And on a
Okay.
regular basis throughout the year, we do anti-racism training with
Oh,
sixth grade students at Jacob Hyatt School, which are
okay.
all in our immediate neighborhood
Yeah.
in Maine South that we're really proud of. And so it's good. I think it's refreshing to see teachers and schools that are willing to have community members come in, because it's felt like it's been like a fortress that like
Mm.
community can't get into these schools and engage with students. But there's a shift where principals and there's all these wraparound coordinators and teachers that really want to
Mm.
make sure that their students, who are mainly students of color,
Mm-hmm.
are engaging with community members of color and getting all that they need outside of academics to just be well-rounded leaders in our community, which is really, really
Very cool.
beautiful. I hope we'll see more and more of it in the next kind of couple of years with the new superintendent and just the shift in
Mm.
education that we're seeing in our community right now.
Okay.
Hmm.
What drew you to this type of work?
Yeah, that's my mom.
Okay.
Which we all, well,
Yeah.
yeah, I think that all of us have a responsibility as, again, whatever identity you hold, like we all have privilege, we all experience oppression in any way, shape, or form. And I always like to say no one takes a day off from like fighting for a more just world. We might take a break, but it's everybody's responsibility to do the work that we do. And then there's the obvious that my mom was doing this work for a long time, and I was with her the entire time trying to help and passing out plates or passing out raffles with you at early birthday parties,
Girl.
right? 7, so then you don't
Oh,
really have a choice but to kind
wow.
of,
Yeah.
and even in school, I went to college to do like financial, whatever the heck, and
Yeah.
that lasted like a year and a half
It
where I was
did.
like, I
Yeah.
shouldn't, let me do Black studies and right. So
Yeah.
yeah.
No, but so you were, your mom, who,
Hmm.
honestly was really one of my first teachers, I
Hmm.
think, into really delving into Black history, because
Hmm.
again, we only got what we were taught in
Hmm.
school and things like that. And, so I can imagine being her child and, learning at her knees and
Hmm.
growing up and doing this. But when you guys, so let's look at the decision to start the village.
Hmm.
Like, what was the idea to start the village and then how it came?
Hmm.
And we're going to talk about how we've transitioned.
Yeah. Yeah. So the village, I think, was like a dream for a really long time. There were a number of people before me and my mom. There were other folks that their hopes and dreams were like, we need to have a space. And we've had spaces in the past. We've had Prospect House, we've had the Henry Lee Willis Center, we've had the Mosaic Multicultural Complex on Piedmont Street, and none of those organizations exist anymore. Um, and so we were already trying to figure out like how do we go about getting a space.
Yeah.
And then again, that summer of 2020 happened. George Floyd and Breonna Taylor and Ahmaud Arbery, whose names we can't say enough, and I hope we haven't forgotten about in 4 years,
No.
right? Really sent some energy through the community, not just here, but all around the world. And we had a number of demonstrations. There were protests. There were like thousands of people in the city that came out and did their thing. But Black folks said we need our own space to just breathe for a minute without cameras, without other folks asking questions and looking. We just need like
Mm-hmm.
a healing space. So we called that space together and we had about 50 people show up, but we didn't have a building. So we
Mm.
met at Green Hill Park.
Yeah.
And think half the people got tickets that day, which sucked too, for parking in weird
Mm.
spaces. But it was just a continued reminder that, like, if
Mm.
we had a space, we wouldn't have this problem.
Mm-hmm.
And then it just so happened that our friends from the Stone Soup Artist Activist Collective on King Street were trying to explore a transition, and we
Mm.
just kind of walked in at the right place at the
Mm.
right time with the trust of community to
Mm-hmm.
figure out what was next. And we
Mm.
opened May 2021. So in what, 2, 3 months, we'll be celebrating our 3-year anniversary,
Well,
which is really
congratulations on
cool.
that. That is really, really cool. I
Yes.
love the mission, of, what it started. Do you think
Hmm.
that the mission has remained the same, or how has it shifted in your eyes as it started to grow and
Hmm.
you're learning as you're teaching, you're learning new things? How
Yeah.
has the mission of the village shifted?
Yeah, I think it's definitely shifting, and there's things that we do that might not obviously seem like village work, but it's village work,
Mm-hmm.
or it's becoming village work. I
Mm-hmm.
think because we're in a beautiful neighborhood like Maine South,
Yeah.
there are efforts in the neighborhood to just kind of rethink what happens in our community,
Mm.
and rethink what it means to be like a good neighbor, what it means to
Mm-hmm.
contribute to not just your street, but the neighborhood in general
Mm.
that we've now taken on.
Yeah.
And so we didn't initially set out with that in mind,
Mm.
right? But because we want to be good neighbors and
Yeah.
responsible on the street that we're on, it's village work. So in the
Yeah.
summertime, it might mean we have to bring a table on the porch and work from the porch so we can
Mm-hmm.
make sure we're talking to our neighbors and talking to street folks and talking to anybody who wants to talk to us, right? Um, and we've gone to neighborhood meetings some kind of way. We're a part of the leadership now, right? And that wasn't the initial intention when we started. But here we are. And so
Yeah.
now that becomes village work.
Yeah.
And I think there's, yeah, every day we're learning more about what it feels like community needs, and we try to make sure our space is flexible enough to meet what community needs.
Mm-hmm.
And people are really looking for like a
Yeah.
venue to hold
Yeah.
whatever it is that they can dream. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So sometimes it looks like a workshop, sometimes it looks like private movie night, sometimes it
Yeah.
looks like art space, but we try to be as flexible as we can be, still with the underlying mission of empowering Black folks,
Mm.
but try to be.
Yeah.
as flexible as we can, because empowering Black folks could be anything, right?
No,
So.
absolutely. Like I
Mhm.
mean, we're diverse, we're multi-talented.
Mhm.
There's so
Yep.
many different things. I've taught workshops there and how
Yes.
to start your business.
Mhm.
I've taught workshop
Home.
about your self-esteem. I've
Yep.
taught on buying a home,
Yep.
things like that. Like I've attended drum India the other
Mhm.
night. There's been
Mhm.
movie
That was
night.
good.
I learned how to
I should
drum.
have brought my drum from my car and put you on the spot. It's in my trunk. I'm just saying.
It's raining. We
Next
can't
time.
go out. Next time, maybe tomorrow.
Yeah. Oh, don't give me any
No,
ideas.
so yeah, no, there's a lot of things happening there, and
Mhm.
that's fantastic. But how would you advise someone though that's watching and that's in a different,
Mhm.
community, neighborhood, state that
Mhm.
would like to start something like the village?
Hmm.
Well, what advice would you give them? Because it's not easy.
Yeah, it's a lot of. I think get a good set of grounded people that you trust, that
Mm,
are aligned in your values and vision, and just start getting something down.
mm.
I was looking at our like what we thought the village was going to be 3 years ago, and I was rolling some of the ideas we had, but some of the ideas are still
Mm-mm.
there. Like we
Yeah,
picked a couple of them, and some of them might come in 5 years. Who knows? But that was the start, and
yeah,
really just
yeah.
you gotta dream big and be
Mm,
bold enough to like write that wild idea down and
yeah.
and look at it and think about how you can get there.
Mm,
Because we started out thinking we were just gonna rent an office. We weren't gonna have the whole building and manage everything. And here
yeah.
we are, 3 years out, managing the whole building, right?
Managing the whole
Which
thing.
sounded wild to us back then, but here we
Yeah.
are. So I think like be courageous enough to dream big, jot it down, get a team of people who love you and are
Mm,
rooted in your values, and see where
yeah.
you go from there.
How do
Hmm.
you guys because obviously it's not cheap
Hmm.
to run this, and it's just
Hmm.
like you guys have to, and as a nonprofit, like
Hmm.
nonprofit don't typically
Yeah.
generate money,
Hmm.
so but you need money to operate,
Yes.
right?
Yep. Yeah.
Anyway, so how do you guys go about raising funds and things like
Yeah.
that, and how can we support you guys in any
Hmm.
way?
Yeah. So luckily we have an apartment on the top floor,
Mm,
and we have an electrician and a plumber, which is like, thank goodness. So if something happens in the building, we just call Jimmy the plumber or Joe the
you're
electrician, and they come
I
down and
love
help
it.
us out. We're really proud to have two Black tradesmen upstairs in our space. So they pay rent every month, which
Mm-hmm.
goes towards programming and making sure the building's good. We do a lot of grant writing for sure.
Mm,
But we also have a lot of community members who make individual donations. Some of them do it once every couple of months. Some of them have a monthly donation, maybe $10, $25, $50, whatever it is that they can afford. And it really helps us go a long way, because the more
mm-hmm.
donations that we have, the less grant dependent we are, the less
Mm,
time we have to spend like writing the grants and doing
mm-hmm.
all that kind of stuff. And then we also have a change for change jug at the front of our door, and a
Yeah.
lot of little kids really like it, that they'll save up all their little pennies and coins, and then they come and
Oh.
empty it out, and it amounts to a really, really kind of helpful amount of money. So
It's because they feel like they're doing
they feel
something, right?
so special with their little plastic baggie of coins. It's so sweet. They're
Oh,
beautiful.
that's
So
wonderful. How do they get on to donate, though? I know you said folks. Like, how do they
yeah,
donate?
so
Like, if
you
somebody's out of state watching and they want to donate,
yeah,
how?
if they go to tinyurl.com/donate to the village, the PayPal link will come up, and you can do a one-time payment. You can do a recurring payment.
Okay.
You can also email us at thevillageworcester@gmail.com. We can send you all our
All
fun
the
money
fun.
information.
Yes. Okay. All right. I'll let you sip some
Yeah,
tea because
I
we've been
know. I'm
chatting.
like,
I'm like, we
I
haven't
kept
given.
being like, when can I?
I know.
Keeps asking me
I
questions.
know. All right.
That's what I'm here
Like
for.
sip your tea. That that's what
Yes.
you're here for.
Hmm.
I think about you mentioned how is it?
It's delicious.
I know. I
It's
love
nice
tea.
and warm. Like,
I know. And on a day like today,
ooh, we were running in the rain
on
earlier,
a
y'all.
thank God
Yes.
for the fro girl. Thank God for the fro. Like
Yes.
it is, I was thinking about, like you mentioned earlier, that since you were 7 years old, so the Bob
Mhm.
Marley birthday bash, which you guys host every year, and I was there
Mhm. Yep.
skanking.
Yep. That's right.
You know what's funny?
Yep.
So me,
Mhm.
Raquel Knight, and Celia
Mhm.
Johnson Blue,
Oh yeah.
like we were all just like dancing, and my mom sent me the picture. It's just like, look at you guys, and it wasn't planned or
Yep.
not. We were just
It's having a good
like
old
just having it.
time.
Like
Yes.
Bob, man, that music hits you, you feel all
Mhm.
right.
This he yeah. He knew what he was doing.
He did.
And
He
his music
did.
is still alive and
Like,
well and doing its thing for real.
girl, like, can we just talk about Bob for a minute? Like, we're gonna get back to the interview.
No, of course.
Like,
Listen, he's one of our favorite ancestors of the
no,
village.
no, CPT
Big
girl.
time.
I was writing a speech for something, and I wanted to listen to in this great future, you can't forget your
Mhm.
past. No
Mhm.
woman, no cry, and
Mhm.
I was just like,
Hmm.
and like I put it on, and the music hit, and I was just like, this feels like it was just written today.
Mhm.
Like
Mhm.
his music is so
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. And that's like the music that can like stand the test of time. It's not like hot music for the minute. It's
No,
fun. That's cool too, but
it.
you know, yes, it's like
Like
great grandparents,
the women.
grandparents, the mamas, the kids, everybody listening to it.
Listen,
That's something.
that's the music of my childhood, and I
Mhm.
love to see, like, my little daughter, she was listening to it, and like, it was like Three Little Birds the other day, and she was like, do you
Mhm.
remember that Sarah sang this at grandpa's funeral?
Mhm.
And I'm like, I still have that, her
Yep.
rendition. It was so beautiful, but it was just like,
Mhm.
then I was listening to Rastaman chant,
Mhm.
and I was just
Yep.
like, Bob, you are so good.
Yeah. Yeah. There was something of that time, like all around the world, but
Yeah,
especially in the islands and that liberation time where
yeah,
folks were really getting like knowledge and culture and black pride and black power all around the world. That was
yeah,
such a really like a special time that I
yeah,
don't think we talk about it in silos, but like the 60s, the 70s, that
yeah.
time when Bob was at his prime. I know he was born in 45, so the 60s would have been like the height of his career.
Mm-hmm.
That was like that's the civil rights movement.
It
That's like,
is.
a lot of people were getting free. That's when a lot of countries in Africa were getting free. So
Mm-hmm.
the 60s were a really important time in global Black history, not just in specific
Mm-hmm.
spaces, but
No, absolutely.
it's a
And
beautiful time.
it is. And,
Hmm.
Bob was all over the world. And
Sure
I
was.
think, the fact that he played such an important role in history. And like, I
Hmm.
wonder if he was alive today, and just to see the way his music touched
Hmm.
so many, if
Hmm.
even he would believe that.
I
Because we
know,
dream
huh?
big.
Yeah,
Like, we dream big, but
yeah.
it's just
That's a big one.
like,
Yeah.
Bob would understand how big Bob
Hmm.
is.
Hmm.
Like, I often think of that, like
Yep.
this little man from Jamaica. No, man.
Like 5'2", 5'3".
Like this tiny little
Yep.
skinny man.
Hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
he
Just
just
got the hearts of everybody all around the world. People don't even speak English, but
you
might
knew
not even
Bob.
speak patois. They
Like,
know, right? But
yeah.
yeah, it's beautiful. And
No.
his music, I would say, amongst revolutionaries, amongst
Mm-hmm.
people who are still doing righteous work,
Yeah.
is the anthem. Everybody's playing "Get Up, Stand Up." If you're in like right
Mm-hmm.
protest space, his soundtracks are
Isn't it
you
funny?
know.
Because his music galvanizes you to act.
Mhm.
And if you really truly listen to his words, like, he's calling out some atrocities,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
But his music is played everywhere.
Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
everywhere. Because I don't know, he delivers it in such a way that he's like telling you, like, okay,
Mhm.
y'all did what you did.
Yep.
Cut it out. Let's do
Mhm.
let's do the right thing. Like, you can do the right thing. You have the
Mhm.
power. And, blacks, let's unite.
Yep.
So
Yep.
just I love me some Bob.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful story
Yeah.
of our people and our struggle and our beauty and our
Yeah.
rhythm, all of it. I love it.
When
I'm
the
like,
music hit.
there you go, right?
So tell me,
Yeah.
you recently had the Village, you guys did the movie, to
Yes.
went to see One Love.
Yes.
Haven't seen it yet, so no spoilers, but
Mm-hmm.
what was that like?
We are the private community screening was fantastic. It was a fundraiser for the village. So that's
Mm-hmm.
another way that we make money.
Yeah,
And we raised probably about $2,000 for the village, which is really helpful for
that's
us.
awesome.
It's really good. There are people
Mm-hmm.
who donate tickets who don't come, like they
Yeah,
just want to donate, and it means people who can't
J-
afford a ticket
to
can
get
still
a ticket.
come, and
Yeah,
we're still making money for the work that we do, which is good. And we probably had about 100 people come together and
wow.
watch the movie. And I always joke, like when
More than
you
Wakanda, because I was at
no,
Wakanda.
I think Wakanda was probably 100, and there was close to 150 there.
Oh, okay, yeah, that
But
was
this
a
one, yes,
bill.
yeah, that
Yeah,
was a big one. This
yeah,
one was a little smaller, but still lots of
lots of
people. The
people.
vibe was beautiful.
I
We get to
mean,
take over the theater, so we got Bob playing from the hallway, and everything was beautiful. Everybody got a goodie bag. And I always joke, like, when we went to, Black Panther, I didn't really chill because I'm working until about
Yes.
like 40 minutes in. So I probably missed the first 40 minutes.
No, girl.
But when I went to see it on Monday, I'm like, no one's laughing at the jokes. Like it was like a whole different vibe than when it was all of
Wow.
us in there, you know?
Yeah.
And when you go to the movies, it's like, don't sit near me. But in our
Yeah.
theater, it's like, come sit with me. It's just
Yeah.
a completely different vibe. And I think we're trying to figure out if we should do a debrief for people who've seen the movie because we have our feelings about it, but I won't say I'm not gonna spoil nothing because you
No,
haven't
don't
seen it
spoil
yet.
none. I've tried to look away from all the review.
Yeah.
I want a review like they didn't like it, and
Mm.
then one like this guy like he was upset like they said there was no Jamaicans cast in the major
Yeah.
roles, but
Yeah.
that's a whole nother story.
Yeah.
But I will say that
Mhm.
I love my people. But let me tell you, watching a movie with your people, like
Yeah.
we are so loud.
Listen. No, we were dancing, we were singing, we was
We
in the middle of the movie. Yeah.
So
The whole
like
thing.
you have to see when you go to see. I ain't gonna lie to you,
Mhm.
and I'm one of them. I'm not gonna lie. You have to go again another day to
Yeah.
actually see the movie. Because like I went to Black Panther the following night,
Mhm. Mhm.
with the whole family
Yep.
because I wanted to do like a family thing because
Yep.
I knew that I was gonna miss.
Yeah.
And it was
Big
so
parts.
good.
It was really
But yeah, no, I just because it's like especially when Bob Marley come on and then like
Yeah.
yeah, no,
Yeah.
I knew that for a fact. But yeah, I
It's a
just
whole
I
different
love our
vibe.
people.
Yeah.
Listen, like the first, like when we went to watch like the first Medea movie in theater, like this lady was next to me. I want to say, lady, could you stop laughing?
Oh. It's like I missed the next line.
Like she just like I swear Tyler Perry walked out and she was just laughing the whole
I
time.
love it.
But I was laughing too. But then I was like, okay, I'm done.
It's like
Let's
for 5 seconds and now
like let it go.
for 12. Done.
Yeah, no. But I love our
Word.
people.
I
Like
love
I
our
love.
people
So
too.
yeah, no. I do think
Mhm.
that I think a debrief is always good because
Yeah.
I always like to hear people's thoughts and
Mhm.
feelings and things like that. And I
Yeah.
mean, his son was
Mhm.
involved in the movie,
Mhm.
while he was like
He's
executive
one of the
producer. So I
producers.
really
Yep.
hope that they didn't take any liberties. Like I'm assuming that
Yeah.
they gave accurate depiction
Mhm.
of why.
Mhm.
So you have a couple of viewers who are on.
Yes. Hello. Hi.
There's this night that's
Mhm.
the night that's on there, Jean Marie Graham. And Jean Marie asked a question. She says, do you guys take
Snap.
clothes?
At the
Oh,
village?
okay. And that's for the
That's a good
village.
question.
Yeah, it's a question.
We can. Sometimes we'll use them for folks who come by and ask for clothes. Or if we know of a family that's in need, like there's a huge influx of Haitian folks, and we've been connected to some of the families that might need something, we'll share them that way. But if people bring clothes to us, we definitely make sure that we're not gonna put them to waste.
All
Sure.
right, wonderful. That's the beauty of a live broadcast, right?
Yeah.
And what did Miss Knight have a question?
That snap was real.
Yeah.
I was like, should I look or not?
Like,
Snap was
okay. I
serious.
feel like what was the show? I know. I think it was Live with Regis and Kelly and Gelman, right? Like Gelman, they were always like bugging Gelman. That's
I was like, are we in trouble?
no. Oh, there's a guy. Oh my God, it's Sherry Shepherd. We're gonna call him like
Yeah.
Sherry. Is it Jashawn?
I think so.
Like,
I
yeah,
think you're right.
yeah, Jashawn. Go ahead. He was like, get it together. Like,
Got our attention now.
Look, we're not forgetting our audience. I promise you.
Whew. We in the
All right. So we're going to go back.
Yes.
All right. And that's the beauty of a live that, we are able to interact and we
Mhm.
have our producers who is on the screens that's able to
Yes.
ask us the questions. So your questions could get
Mhm.
answered live. So I love
Yes.
that. All right.
Mhm.
Fantastic.
Good
So
stuff.
any other big movie, and we're going to move on from the movie that's coming up that you guys, because I mean,
We've been
you can't
thinking
do
about
all.
it. Yeah.
You can't do all. So I think that Wakanda was beautiful.
Yeah, that was a good
And
one.
I think that the Bob,
We had to do
obviously,
Bob.
like
We
you had to
had
do
to.
Bob, girl.
Yeah, we've been
The-
doing 19 Bob
19
Marley.
years,
Yeah,
like
we had to do Bob.
So what are y'all gonna
Yeah.
do for the 20th?
We've already started talking about it, which we probably do like a whole week of celebrations. I'm not
Nice.
gonna lie, but we're pulling together what exactly it's gonna
Yeah.
look like and all that good stuff now. Luckily, we have about a year to figure it out, but
Yeah.
it'll be our 20th and Bob's 80th birthday. So
Wow. I'm
it's
still
a big
young, man.
deal.
I'm still young. See, him could I still alive?
Earth Strong is
Him,
real.
him could I still alive? All right.
Mhm.
Oh, I didn't even know. Like I have brown sugar and I have cream. I don't even know. You
I'm
just
good.
been drinking
All
it.
natural
Like
herbal tea. I'm
Mm.
good. I ain't shaming nobody, but I'm good.
No, listen, I don't do sugar, so I gave up sugar a few years ago, just in tea, nothing else. I don't get too impressed.
That's right. I'm trying to, but
I've been giving up ice cream and brownies and all of that stuff just for sugar for tea.
I
But
just try to do. I mean, I'm a
yeah,
plant-based eater, so I try to,
Nice. Okay.
out here. Probably like 10,
10
close to
years.
10 years.
Was that after Africa
It
or
was
when you
right
went?
before, which
Oh,
was
okay.
fun. I'm like, I made this decision to not eat meat before I went abroad
You
to
went
all
to
these
Africa.
countries. I'm like,
Like, they do
woo.
good food over
Yeah,
there.
it was interesting for I always say, like, when I had the privilege to study abroad for a year, I went all kinds of places, and I lived in Ghana for the longest time for 4 months,
Yeah.
which is in West Africa. A lot of some folks might not know.
Yeah.
And I was a vegetarian, and I'm like, but my biggest thing was I did not want to disrespect nobody's culture.
Mm.
Anywhere I went, I was in Vietnam, I was in Argentina, I went all these different places. I'm like, I will not be disrespectful.
Yeah.
And there was this very beautiful, sweet woman who had like three little girls. And the week before we left, she was like, I want to cook a meal for y'all, and I want you to come to my home and all these things. And she has like baby wrapped in the front, baby in the back, baby in hand, big old food, right? And she's like bringing us to make this meal, and there was all kinds of chicken and beef and
Yeah.
meat, and I ate every single drop. I didn't even care. I was like, I'm not gonna tell. Like, what am I gonna do? Not eat it? Are you crazy? Me?
Yeah.
And this week we walked for a really long time in the Ghana sun with
Yeah.
this woman with the big platform and all the things, and she cooked for like 3 hours. You thought I wasn't gonna eat it just because there was chicken in it? Please. It's like nope. And I was very sick after. I ate every single drop. I had seconds. I didn't have a choice. Who care? In Vietnam, it was the same thing. Like my host mom cooked this beautiful meal, and it was like a bunch of beef, and I'm like,
Like,
no choice.
yeah,
I will not be disrespect. Like I couldn't handle that,
I
so I
get
just
that.
ate it. But
Like, you just ate it. Okay.
yeah,
All right.
tried it. But for the most part, in my own time, I don't do meat or regular
Okay.
milk or cheese or butter or that kind of stuff. But yeah, we're out here.
Like, you.
Yeah,
All right. So
yeah.
how do you like for someone now that because I know that a lot of folks and I'll put myself in there because
Mhm.
I'm still learning things out
Mhm.
about our history.
Mhm.
How do you encourage folks to like do their research? Where
Mhm.
should they start?
That's a really good question. I would, you know what? I know it's not the answer people might want to look for, but I would say start with your ancestors, like your
Mm-hmm.
immediate people. Start with whoever the oldest person in your family is that's still alive. I would chat with them
Mm-hmm.
because there's history in the books that, of course, we can find, and you can do Google searches. You can do,
Mm-hmm.
watch documentaries and read these beautiful autobiographies of all these beautiful giants in our history. But I've been thinking a lot more. I've been doing some genealogy for my own family. Last year we did like Black genealogy tips and things for Black History Month. But I think it's just as important to know your great grandmother and your
Mm.
auntie and your cousin and your neighbor as it is to know Harriet Tubman and Assata
Mm-hmm.
Shakur and all these beautiful people. So I would say if you have an elder in your family, somebody who is older, who's still alive,
Mm-hmm.
I would start with them and
Mm-hmm.
receive whatever stories it is they have to share because it informs you
Mm-hmm.
about where your people came from. And then of course you can do all the other things that
Yeah.
come to the village and learn about
Yeah.
anybody that we talk about all year round, right? Or
Mm-hmm.
um, join the Worcester Black History Project, go to the NAACP, come to the Juneteenth Festival. There's lots of things to do,
Mm-hmm.
um, but I don't think too many people are pushing people to think about like their own family history,
Mm.
the Black history within them that is so amazing. And like your grandmama opened a shop, what, and did
Mm.
hair, like that's dope and that's
That is dope.
revolutionary in a time where
Mm-hmm.
people couldn't do that. I think that's just as amazing as
Mm.
Sada Shakur breaking out of prison, right, and
Mm-hmm.
liberating herself. So I think finding the beauty in our own stories, and
Mm-hmm.
then you'll find the beauty in all stories. But
No,
you know,
that is so beautiful because I think we sometimes tend to just go far to find out
mhm,
when you're right. It's like right there,
mhm,
like the stories of, and if you are blessed enough to have a grandmother that is still
mhm,
alive, talk to them,
mhm.
and not just in America, like
Yep,
from the island,
yep.
because we all know that enslaved people were taken from Africa and enslaved and
Dispersed all over the
dispersed all
place.
over the world, in the
Mhm,
Caribbean, in America,
mhm,
Europe, all over. So the Africa truly is the birthplace. It is the
mhm,
motherland. So can you imagine having like a grandparent who's like 80 or 90
mhm,
just to talk about
mhm,
their experience?
mhm.
So you're right. I think
Remember their
start there.
grandmother and right? Like that
Yeah.
gets you. It's truly a gift
Yeah.
if you're able to do that. It's a
Yeah.
beautiful thing. Record the conversations if
Yeah.
you can. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's very
No,
important.
no, it's very important. I honestly, my dad would talk sometimes, and I regret not talking to him more,
Mhm, mhm.
about stuff like that because
Yeah.
I think we fool ourselves into thinking we have the benefit of time,
Mhm.
and we don't pay attention to the ones that are around us
Mhm.
as much because we have time.
Yeah.
And,
Mhm.
then they're gone
Yeah.
and we missed so much.
Mhm. Yeah, like the proverb, when an elder goes, it's like a whole
Yeah.
library's gone, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know someone who I consider to be my teacher, Brother Joel out in Boston, always says like you should consider family history to be like something urgent. Like
Mm-hmm.
don't put it off, don't think you have time because it like
Mm.
yeah, those stories can be gone in the blink of an eye and we'd just be like, oh, they're
Yeah.
not impossible to retrieve. It's just really hard to,
Mm.
you know,
Well, if they
yeah,
passed away and they don't leave anything, it's you have to find
very hard.
people. It is very hard
Yeah.
to,
Hmm.
I just watched the show on Hulu, Black Cake. So y'all don't
My
come at
mom and
me.
I are getting ready to start it.
Okay,
I
I
haven't seen it yet.
loved it.
Word.
The accents threw me. I ain't gonna lie.
Oh, okay. Heads up.
I'm from Jamaica, so
Yeah.
okay, I see you. It wasn't too bad. I know that a lot of people were offended. I didn't care.
I hear you. It's okay to be offended. It's all right.
Like some of them, I'm like, some of the
It's
accents,
like,
I was
come on
like,
now.
okay, really, come on now.
Come on
But
now.
anyway, it was, I liked what the mother did though, but like it's funny, like she
Hmm.
went through her whole life not telling the story. And then,
Hmm.
she has like she made these
Yeah.
recorded for the kids.
Hmm.
And obviously when they show in the recording, they're showing the show, but it was like
Yeah.
it's just so vivid. And I was
Hmm.
thinking about it, I was like, she lived through so much. I'm
Yeah.
so glad her kids, you know,
Hmm.
got to like
Yeah.
listen. Like she went through
Hmm.
a whole lot, and like their whole
Hmm.
life they lived their mother, and they didn't know that. So
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
stories are they holding?
Hmm.
So yeah, you should
Yep.
definitely watch.
Yeah, I was gonna say we were planning we were gonna start it on
Yeah,
Sunday and then something happened, but it was probably somebody reached out to us for
yeah,
Black History Month and we
you
were like,
should
what?
watch it. Like the accent's gonna throw you back.
We're ready.
like
Mama, I know you're watching somewhere.
like you are watching
Yeah.
somewhere, you're doing something, but
Yep.
like ignore the accent and watch the show. It's good.
Yes.
And let me just tell you, so I love the idea around it too, like with black cake. And I do actually want to make black cake.
Mm.
I do. I mean, I've never done it,
Yep.
like,
Me
but I've
either.
eaten it and I
Mhm.
love it. So I'm like, I'm gonna get some recipes. But it's funny. So my mama went to Jamaica the other day. Sorry, mama.
Yes.
And she bought a black cake and
Mhm.
she brought it up. But girl, that was no black cake. That was banana bread.
Oh
They
my
had the
gosh.
nerve
Oh my gosh.
cake
I
on it.
can't.
So first I opened it and
I
I'm like,
can't.
why is this brown? It's brown. So then
Man,
it was
try
like,
to play Miss Doreen and I won't have it.
they played my mama. Like, nice box
Yep.
to make up their thing, right?
Mm.
It said black cake and,
It's a
whatever.
brown black
So
cake.
I was like, okay, it's brown. And I was
Wow.
like, I tasted, I was like, this is banana bread. Like, it tastes like pudding.
Dang.
There was no wrong
Mm.
thing.
Mm.
I
Mm.
was,
That's
then I wasn't going to tell her. I was like, what? I was just let it be. And then a couple of days later, she was like,
oh man.
I was like, Mom, for real though, that was awful.
Oh,
That was bad.
well, honesty is very important. So you know what?
No, I wasn't.
There
But
you
like, I was like, I wasn't gonna call her and tell her. Like
Yep.
the first bite, I was like, it's like expecting steak and getting tofu.
Yeah.
Like if
Yeah.
you're not used to tofu, like it shouldn't be like an introduction. But like
Mhm.
the brown threw me out. I was like, oh. But yeah, girl,
Brown.
that cake was. I was like, this is banana bread. This is banana pudding. Nothing against it.
Yeah.
But when I'm expecting black
Yeah.
cake,
Yeah. It's a reminder why we got to learn our history so that 2 generations down we not
yeah,
think we're making black cake and we
yeah.
making brown cake.
Yeah,
Somebody
no,
got the
but they
recipe
were
wrong.
selling this somewhere.
Listen,
Like
they
I know
somebody.
some tourists, because if they sold that to somebody in
Yeah,
Jamaica,
they'd have come back and been like,
okay, but
no, I want listen.
listen,
Yeah.
my
Mm-mm.
friend, I want that.
Yeah.
I want that. I will you give me?
Listen, yeah. Yeah. Okay.
So I think they sell it
Mm.
exclusively to
Mm.
tourists.
Mm-mm-mm. They think your mama's a tourist. Like, what?
I don't know. Listen, my sister be messing with me. I know she's watching it. She always be messing with me. Like when we went to Jamaica last time, she was just like, yeah, she's like, yeah, no Jamaica no more. I was like, it's be your own people.
Dang.
Yeah, because you
Very
ask for
tough.
stuff. You get,
Yep.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. When you go to Jamaica, like you live a life, and but then when you come to America, you get used to certain things.
Mhm.
And I mean, I've been accused of being bougie, but you ask for certain things, and she's like, "What do you think it is?"
Dang.
She's like, "Yeah, tourists." She's like, "They're gonna see you a mile away." I was,
Try and send you to resort or something.
yeah,
Like you can't live local. That's not nice.
I can't with her. I
Oh
can't with
man.
her, but
I'm just
but
laughing
yeah,
because I know all the sisters. I know everybody. I know
yeah,
the whole Graham Anderson crew
yeah.
from small.
You
So,
do.
like
No, you do.
I'm rolling.
No, listen. So, well, and you know our personalities.
Oh
So,
yeah. Oh yeah.
your mom went to Jamaica the other day. So
Mhm.
she went to St. Thomas, which we lived for a very long period of her
Mhm.
life because that's what my father's
Yep.
family's from.
Yep.
And she went to Bath Fountain. It's so funny when I
Mhm.
saw. I was so excited. I was like telling her the history, and she was like,
Yes.
"I didn't know." But like it was like when I was growing up there, I didn't appreciate
Mhm.
like the significance,
Yeah.
like the role that it played
Mhm.
in enslaved people when they
Mhm.
escaped, like bathing in the water,
Yep.
like healing properties and all that.
Mhm.
Because this was just something that we can go to every day if
Yeah.
we wanted to, right?
Yeah.
So like when your mom was there, I was like, oh God, I'm so excited. But
Yeah.
she was
Yeah.
talking about walking to it and how
Mhm.
treacherous it was. And like now that I think about it, I'm like, I guess it was, but like in my youth, like we were just
Yeah. You just
running
run up that. Yeah.
like no thought to our own lives,
Yep.
like no thought that there was like a 10
Drop.
12 foot
Yeah.
drop, like with no barriers,
Yeah.
like
Yep.
but
Mhm.
anyway, so I say
Yeah.
that to say this. I When we went back to Jamaica, there's this mud in Jamaica. It's like this blue mud. It's
Mhm.
called like hog mud.
Yep.
Like so
I love it.
it grows in abundance
Mhm.
in the river. Like we knew we would like roll it into balls and
Yep.
slap each other when we were swimming in the river, right? Yes, I swam in the river, people, let it go.
I
So my kids say I don't swim, but anyway, listen,
Dang.
yeah. Well, so we go to we went to Bath Fountain when I go visit my sister, and these guys are coming to sell me the mud, and I'm like, no, they're
Yeah.
telling me about these properties and how much it is, and I was like, okay. So I was like, thank you so much, I'm all set. So my sister's like, you so buy it? I'm just being nice.
Yeah.
She's like, you can't be nice. Maybe I'm so sorry. She was like, if you're so sweet to them, they think you're Taurus.
Oh
Like,
God.
you have to be nice.
Yeah.
Like, tell him thank you
Ooh.
so much. I'm all set. She's like, you
Mhm.
cannot say it like that.
There's definitely an art to traveling,
There is,
especially places you have history
but
and
it's my
right.
people. So I
Yeah.
was just couldn't like not gonna just no, but
Yeah. It's definitely an art. Traveling is like a thing.
it is.
It really is,
It is.
especially as Black folks. It's
Yeah.
like a
It is
thing.
a whole
Yeah.
nother thing. But
It's a
yeah, so
project.
adventures in other countries,
Right.
especially
Right. Ooh. Telling
listen,
you.
uh
Well, we'll have to have an extra special episode and have Miss Doreen come on and do like sipping
oh
eating black cake with Suzanne and try and redeem it and
I know, right?
have real black cake,
I
not
know.
brown black cake.
Not
Try
listen,
and fix it.
that traumatized
I don't
me.
want them playing her out like she's a
No,
tourist.
they did. They played my mama. They played my mama.
We'll do an
So
episode in April.
so if you're watching and you have the recipe for Jamaican black cake, send it to your girl because
Mhm.
I'm going to make this black cake. And I don't do Jamaican rum because that will kill you. But in my cake, I will eat it.
There you
Like
go.
no, like you have
Yeah.
to put it in
Yep.
the rum cake. Like you have to put
Yes.
it in there. But yeah, no, drinking it like
That's a whole other story.
that's a whole nother
Yeah.
level. So
Yeah. At least not for the 12 o'clock show. Maybe the 5 o'clock. Another show after this. So
can you imagine? Like, you know who?
mm-mm.
Nataki, Marsha, Raquel, my
Okay.
sister Wendy. Maybe I'll do a show and have them come on and see which one of them will last longer
Oh
drinking
my gosh.
the Jamaican rum.
Mm.
Denise, you will not be invited because you can't drink. You think you can. So anyway,
I'm not endorsing that, Miss Denise, because
she can't drink.
I just want to be in a good space with everybody. I'm the Graham crew when they pull up on me. I don't want her being like, I remember when you
She
sat
will
there.
call you out.
Yeah,
She will
no.
call you out. She will
Yeah.
call you
And
out.
she's still Miss Denise. Everybody is still Miss.
Yes.
I was in the spirit of Black History Month. I had like somebody who's not used to our culture.
Yeah.
Who I'm obviously a grown up. I'm 26, but people are still Miss to me, Miss and Mister. I can't help it. I was like a peanut.
Now you're an adult.
Adult.
Yeah.
And
With bills
some
and
lady was like,
everything.
listen, village bills, real bills. No, I'm
Yeah.
kidding. Some lady was like, why do you still call them Miss? And I'm like, because I met them when I was a little girl.
Yeah.
She was like, you're an adult now. You still got to call them Miss. I'm like, yes. Why? My mama still calls people Miss, and she about to be 60 soon. Like, what
Yeah.
you mean? They're always gonna be older
It's a
than me.
culture.
And
Yeah.
it's a culture thing. I wish I would
Yeah.
call an adult by their first name. Just
Yeah. I know, right? It took
those little pieces of our culture that, again, I mean, I make sure my kids call somebody Miss or Mister.
Well, they have to.
Yes,
It was
it's
shocking
a
to
culture
me.
thing, you know.
Yeah, it was
Gotta
shocking
keep
to me the
that.
first time I came to America, and it was like folks were just regular their names. I was like, oh, like,
Telling you.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
that's what we doing?
yeah.
Okay.
So, but luckily for the, us safe folks and church
Mhm.
folks, like
Mhm.
we can do the sister and the brother. So at least
Mhm.
that I feel better.
Yeah.
Like I feel a little better than
Mhm.
just a straight like a grown adult in
Yeah.
their 70s,
No.
be just calling you
Mm-mm.
Tanya.
Mm-mm.
Like, hey Tanya,
No, that's always gonna be Miss Tanya.
Miss Tanya, Sister Tanya.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
just
I'm gonna be 60 calling some of these people Miss and Mister. Still, I
yeah.
don't care.
Is they still older than you?
Mhm.
Like, right?
Yep.
Yes. Oh
Little
my
bits of
goodness.
our culture, little
Mm,
things, but
yeah.
here we go.
Here we
It's
go.
still hanging.
Yeah. So what? I know. We asked this 10 miles ago, and I'm coming back to it, like, because we get off on a tangent,
Yeah,
right?
it happens.
So what show is coming up? Because I know Black Panther was significant. It was so good for
Yeah.
the culture, and then
Bob.
and what else?
We're trying
I
to
don't know if
think.
there's
We're not
anything else
sure just
coming
yet.
up.
Yeah. If anybody sees anything and
Yeah.
wants us to
I will
get a
send it
theater,
over.
send it
Yeah.
our way. At
Yeah.
one point, I know there was a film about Emmett Till that came out that people wanted to
Okay.
get a theater
Was
for.
it in the theater?
It was in the theater, but
Okay.
we weren't sure.
Yeah.
Like I think it's a more heavy story, right? So we were like, okay,
Yeah, there's
maybe
a
we
little
can go as a
balance.
group.
There's a
I don't know if
balance.
we,
Yeah.
yeah,
No. I understand because I say to people sometimes, I think that certain shows that are made about, the struggles of
Mhm.
Black people, like I have a hard time watching it.
Mhm.
Like I rather read about it than
Mhm.
whatever, but I don't
Yeah.
want to see it. Kind of
Mhm.
like I'm a stud. I
Yeah.
didn't watch it.
Yep. Yep.
Sorry.
Yeah.
And
No, I mean,
like it's just it's
Mhm.
brutal because like I know the story, like I
Yeah.
know what happened. Like so I
Yeah.
don't want to see it like
Mhm.
on there
Yeah.
and things like that. Like
Yeah.
I watched the one that introduced Lupita Nyong'o to us.
Is it 12 Years a
12
Slave?
Years a
I
slave.
haven't. I didn't watch that one, and I will watch
So
that one.
like I did watch that. I'm trying to remember. There was like there's certain thing, and there was Emancipation with Will
Mhm.
Smith that like
Mhm.
there's just it's brutal. It's like
Mhm.
total brutality, and I'm
Mhm.
just like because it's not like it's a stranger.
Yeah.
It's like these are people that are not that
Mhm.
far
It's
off.
our ancestors.
Like it's our
collective
ancestors,
ancestors.
but it's not like it's like in the 1600.
Mhm.
It's like some of them are in the
Yeah.
90s. Like
Mhm.
still like we're still connected to them. Not even like it's one generation ago
Mhm.
or even the
Mhm.
current generation.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I was born in the 70s.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
it's kind of like to see that
Mhm.
it's really tough. It's kind of like, I still have not watched what happened with George Floyd. I
I
can't.
haven't either.
I just,
I don't watch the
I
videos
know
of any
what
of that
happened.
stuff.
I just like so
Mhm.
I'm like, please put caution on certain things when you send it to me because
Mhm.
I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't want to see that.
Yeah.
I
It's
will
all
stand up
rooted in
for it.
like, again, lots of research around, like, we watch these things thinking it doesn't have impact on
It
our mental
does.
well-being, and it does.
It does.
And like, who is that for is what my
Yeah.
question always is. And I had
Yeah.
one of my professors was like big on like plays and Black folks in plays and theater. And like, we know the violence that happened in our
Yeah.
community. We don't need to see it. We can
Yeah.
find our stories without having to like
Yeah.
visually see all of that.
Yeah.
So who is that for is usually the
Yeah.
question. And it's usually for non-Black people.
Yeah.
Because it gives them a certain kind of empathy, but then we have to question why we can't just have that empathy without having to see all that violence,
Exactly.
right? So there's lots of levels to it, but I know I don't bear witness to any of that stuff. And then there are some people who are like,
They need it. Yeah.
this man lived that, so how
Mhm.
can I not just watch it? And I
Mm.
respect that point of view too, but
Mm.
I don't watch
No,
any
I
of those
do. I
things, you know.
respect those that can
Yeah.
watch it, that
Mhm.
can see it,
Yeah.
but I
Who can
feel
let
like
me know what happened in it? Because I'm not
yes.
gonna watch it.
No,
You
I would
know.
rather read about it because like even though I
Yeah.
have a very vivid imagination, when I read it, I'm like,
Mhm.
okay, I just like when I see it on, like a
Yeah.
70-foot screen or
Yeah.
like whatever, and just
It's a lot.
it's a lot of trauma that I'm
Mhm.
like, I want to be in a little
Mhm.
space where I'm
Mhm.
not,
Yeah.
thinking of that,
Mhm.
like, because it stays with you.
Mhm.
It really does
Absolutely.
stay with you for a very long time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I
Mhm.
know I haven't the Color Purple. I know I haven't seen that yet.
I didn't see it either. The
Yeah,
remake. I
yeah.
haven't seen it yet.
It's at the I know it's at West Boylston Theater. I was planning to go
The
see
cheap
that. I
theater.
just
That's what I call it.
that's listen, you could still go to that theater with $20,
Yep.
pay for two movies,
Yep.
and get a
And get the
popcorn.
listen.
Thank
I
you.
love that one.
Like and a popcorn. I'm sorry.
Yeah. It's a regular thing in our house to be like, we'll wait for it to go to the
Yes.
cheap theater.
So yeah, no, One Love is there too.
That's what I've heard
Like,
already,
yeah,
which
it
I'm
was
like, what?
no, I think it was
It's like
there
two
like the
weeks.
first week. They very
Wow.
randomly like they'll get a
Mhm.
movie that they get like first
Mhm.
showing
First
of it.
pickup.
I don't
Okay.
understand it. And
That's
then they'll
interesting.
still have like Paddington from 10 years ago.
Mm.
Like it's very I don't know the logic. Like I don't know the logic.
No, but I think Paddington is still there.
I don't get the logic of it because I'll go on a show. Like this was out for 2 years. Like why is it still here? And then they'll have a movie that just came
Yeah.
out. I'm like, I don't get the
They was
logic.
waiting for that movie to come out so they could drop the other one.
Yeah. I don't get the logic, but I do go. I do
Dang.
watch it.
Hey.
And, but yeah, no, but the Color Purples, no. It's on Max, I think.
Okay.
So yeah,
To see.
I watch it from the comfort of my home. I'll watch it because I just sometimes like I don't have the time
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
things like that. So I can't think of any other movie that's coming out
Yeah.
that like you could do a community event.
Yeah. But as
So
soon as we see it, or if somebody sees
yeah,
something, and at this point, our friend Vinny, who helps us set up the theater and get
yeah.
everything together, he was the one talking about this came across my desk and I thought you'd like it, and it was One Love. And we were, of course, gonna do it, but he
Yeah.
was like, I think you'll
I
like this one. So
love
he's
that.
keeping it for us
love
too.
that.
So we'll
I
let
love
everybody
that.
know
All
something
right,
good
I love
comes.
that. Cool.
Mhm.
All right, so what else is upcoming for the village? Because we've been just been
Woo!
chatting. Girl, listen,
I'm telling you.
this episode, we did get a lot
We're
about
killing.
Black History out. Like, girl, like this show is really just about friends getting together and
Mhm.
talking, and just happens to have a
Yes.
camera and broadcast all over the world.
Yes. And there's
So,
another conversation tomorrow that
yes,
we encourage folks to tune in
yes,
for.
please, absolutely. So, what's
Yes.
upcoming for the village for the rest of the year?
So we're having conversations about trying to do our very like a first big kind of fundraiser where maybe we rent a space that's not the village and invite people to come
Mhm.
and support the work that we do and so on and so forth. So we're putting together like a fundraising committee to some extent to try and figure
Nice.
that out. With some kind of like cultural showcase and
Wonderful.
just a beautiful event that we can all come together and hopefully support the work that we continue to do.
Mhm.
More art for sure. We have a woman who does art pop-ups once a month. She brings all the art supplies. It's
Mhm.
completely free. It's like we call it like a art
Mhm.
supply buffet table. She
Yeah.
brings everything. You take what you want and
Oh,
create art.
I love
And
it.
it's really, really fun. People create
Yes.
really beautiful stuff
I
in
do.
like
I
2 hours.
saw.
It's really cool. I know Women's History Month, we're thinking of having some Black women authors come again, and potentially women who like to have children's books. We've
Mhm.
come across a lot of women with children's books.
Wonderful.
Our neighbor from right up the street, 21 King Street, 22 King Street rather, is an author, and
Sister Jackie?
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
Miss Jackie. Yeah, her book is
Uh,
amazing, and Gabriel loves it, and we
Be
can't
amazing. Is
be
it be
amazing.
amazing?
Yes,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
we can't go to sleep without reading the book every night. He loves
That's
that book, and we
amazing.
actually read it to Rice Square School yesterday,
That's
which is
amazing.
really cool. They
Yeah,
loved
yeah.
it too.
Yeah.
So poetry will be coming at some point. The Juneteenth Festival will come
Yes.
along June 15th this year, 2024 at Institute Park. And we'll see what
June
else
15th?
is. Yeah, June 15th. Juneteenth falls on a Wednesday this year.
Yes, I saw
So
that.
it's like the choose, you know?
I saw that. I know these like weekends fill up so fast
Yeah.
and you're trying to plan anything.
Mhm.
It's insane. I'm
Yeah.
having a event the end of March called I Got You Sis.
Oh, I seen
It's
today, right? You posted like the
yesterday.
little
Yes,
teaser
just
for
a
it. Yep.
teaser. Like I'm
Yep.
like Friday, people. I'm gonna
Yep.
wrap up Black History Month. I knew that I
Yes.
had because like Monday was just like Afro beats and QCC, and
Mhm.
last
Yep.
night was a Crocodile River thing,
Yes.
and then today like I had the two
Mhm.
shows, and then
Tomorrow's
tonight
the
we have
panel.
like they're doing
The
Fem Bar,
entrepreneurs,
the entrepreneurs,
Center for
Black
Women in
entrepreneurs,
Enterprise. Yep.
and then tomorrow
Mhm.
QCC have the Black Marketplace.
Yes. Yep.
And then in the evening, like I have the the panel
Mhm.
the summit, the celebration,
Yeah.
whatever it is,
The
right?
schedule is packed.
It is. So I
Yeah.
was like, I
Yep.
teased it because I wanted to hold the date. I
Yep.
wanted people to save the date.
Mm-hmm.
But it's coming up. I'll
Yep.
have all the details on
I
Friday,
love it.
but it's coming up.
Word.
So like, I just we'll talk.
Yeah.
Moving on. But are you guys doing the beach trip this year?
Yes, we'll definitely do our beach trip probably in July and August.
Yeah.
Oh, my mom would kill me if I didn't say this. I'm so glad you just said that. 2 years ago, we did a whale watch. We're doing the whale watch. We are doing the whale watch again. We have the boat is booked, the buses are booked, everything's ready. So June 28th, 2024, which is a Friday, we're all going to meet at the YMCA and we're driving out to Gloucester. We get on the boat just with
That's
the people, so it's
wonderful.
really cool. We have the whole boat to ourselves. And
Nice.
last year we saw 9 whales. I
Wow.
don't know if we're gonna see 9 whales this year, but we're gonna have a good time regardless of what happens. And it's
Okay.
gonna be like it's a very accessible trip because again,
Yeah.
if you're a family of four, it's
Yeah.
usually $25, $30 just to get on the boat. That
Yeah.
doesn't include your transportation and food and everything else. For us, it's $25 per person. That's your transportation. We give you a snack bag. You get on the boat. No
Yeah.
cost unless you choose, right? So
Yeah.
it's a very accessible trip
Oh, that's
for low
wonderful.
income folks, for people of color, right?
Yeah.
And we
Well,
don't usually get to do things like that. I
no,
feel
not
people
at
don't,
all. Like
you
I'm
know.
Black joy, intentional Black joy, right? Like
Like getting
whale
out of our
washing,
city, going to
art,
dream.
beaches,
Yes,
things like that. But oh, that's
definitely.
fantastic.
Yes.
So we have whale watching,
Mm-hmm.
the beach,
Yes.
lots of arts pop up,
Yes.
courageous conversation continuing.
Yes.
Okay, Gelman, hold on. And so how do folks
Didn't
get
snap.
to see one
You might want to take this one.
everything that's happening? All right, like hold on. Tell them they go to where?
You can go on Facebook or Instagram at the Village Worcester.
Yes.
They can send us an email and we'll add you to our email list. We send one email a week with our
Okay.
newsletter. You can always come by the village at Port King Street and talk with us and support your plan to do something. If you have a vision to bring a program, and we just keep having good times and learning about our culture.
I love it. All right.
So
Go.
Brooke Jones chimed in.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
So
Let me
she
guess.
said
Is she
this,
saying the
don't
eclipse?
forget the total eclipse of the heart.
There we go.
And YMCA let us use their space for parking.
Yes.
So
Yes.
all those folks who come to get on the bus, they can park
At the YMCA.
That's
Yes.
good to know because
Yep.
parking is always one of the biggest challenges.
Yeah.
But
They
yeah,
try to
so
help us out.
for the whale washing, so
Mhm.
Paula Jones is her mama. Thank you for tuning in,
Yes.
mama.
Yes. And then
And
she wants me to say that the total eclipse there is an eclipse happening on April 8th.
okay.
It's a Monday, and the next one won't be for another 20 years. So the moon is going to go in front of the sun, and it's going to be complete blackness for about 2 hours during the day, like at 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
Wow.
So we are encouraging community members to join us at Castle Park, which is our neighborhood park right
Okay.
up the street from the village, with a community member named Antonio Ravelli, who's also connected to the Blue Fridges.
Okay.
And we're going to have NASA eclipse glasses. We're going to have some music, vibes, activities for kids.
Oh.
There'll be a lot of
Cheers.
fun. Chairs.
Okay.
Yes, chairs.
Stand by.
Yes. It should be really good. There's a couple of schools that are
Yeah.
actually going to send their like 6th and 5th graders up to watch the eclipse. I mean, some really interesting
Because it's
happens.
1 o'clock.
Yeah. It's 1 o'clock, so they just gonna come on up.
Deep.
Yeah. We have the park from 12 to I think 4 or 5, so we can just kind of hang.
Wonderful.
But
All
total
right.
eclipse.
Listen, lots of things are happening for the village,
No,
and
I
we
thought we
haven't
were slowing down. I guess
like
we're not.
we haven't even gotten past. You were just saying I can't wait to rest and
I
relax,
know.
girl. That ain't happening. But
all
okay,
good.
so last question because we've been chatting for a while. How do you unwind?
It's a good question. Definitely away from the village
Okay.
because I love the village, but I feel like I'm there probably more
All
than
the time.
50 hours, 60 hours a week at this point.
Yeah.
Definitely spending time with my godson Jabriel because he's lots of fun and he keeps
Yeah.
me on my toes.
Yeah.
And being like out in nature, being
Okay.
creative, right? Like make
Mm.
jewelry. Did I make these earrings? I made these earrings.
That's so beautiful.
Make all kinds of little things. It's things that
Okay.
I could do if I wasn't like
Yeah.
100% on the village.
Mhm.
But drumming,
Okay.
music, dance,
Okay. Good.
still culture, but
It's important.
pull back,
It's important as you're teaching and learning all this that you're taking
Yeah.
time to feed into you,
Definitely.
to do self-care,
Mhm.
because there are things that we learn oftentimes
Yeah.
that hits us in a certain way
Mm-hmm.
that we need a moment to just compose ourselves. So
Yes,
I'm glad that
definitely.
you have those things and you
Yeah.
have those outlet and you're not just working all the time.
No, not all the time.
Not all the time, not all the
Yes.
time. Well,
Mhm.
wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for coming on.
Mhm.
I think this actually turned into an episode of just girlfriend gabbing.
Yeah, I would say we'll work tomorrow. No.
Tomorrow we're gonna be more serious.
Yep. Tomorrow's panel will be
It's all Black history. We're gonna be talking about stuff,
yes.
and we're just gonna have a good time with some other phenomenal speakers. And thank you
Mhm.
for always,
Yeah,
saying yes
yeah.
and being willing to show up, support, and
Thank
just
you.
really share your font of knowledge. And I
Thank
appreciate you.
you.
So I know I'll say until next time.
Yes.
I'm just gonna have you end the segment. So just encourage some folks.
All right. Until next time, keep learning your history and culture, not just in February, but all year round, and stay connected to the village and be well until we see you next.
All right.
Peace.
Peace.